So let's go into the build quality center. I'm going to show you exactly how things work, because the thing about it is when you buy a new home, there's a lot of things that you really have to understand and be aware of when you're buying a new home as far as like quality built, because anybody could just buy a home, but what are you actually buying? So let's start off by post-tension slab. So basically what you see right here is a certification on the slab, but also it will tell you it's post-tension, okay? The reason why they stamp that on here is they want you to know, do not drill anything on this concrete because you can ruin the foundation. But I will explain what is post-tension slab. So a lot of homes, you definitely want to find out if it does come with that irrigation system, is it already plumbed and piped in. The next thing is the air conditioner, okay? This one right here is a Lennox, which is a really good brand, and this is a 15 SEER unit. The higher the SEER unit, okay, the more energy efficient that the home will be. Also, you have to understand that an air conditioning unit for 1 ton covers 400 square feet of home. So if you have 2,000 square feet home, you want to make sure it supplies enough. So you want to at least have 5 tons for 2,000 square feet. I always like to have a little bit more. Also, the second thing is most important is if it is a 2-story, make sure you have 2 air conditioning units, 1 upstairs and 1 downstairs. The reason why is because homes here in Las Vegas, it gets so hot that the heat rises. And if your thermostat is located downstairs and you're getting a temperature, you set it down to 79 degrees, upstairs may be 5 degrees difference. So if you're hanging up downstairs and you're looking for that temperature of 79 degrees, you may have to pump it down all the way down to 75 degrees to get your upstairs to the 79 degrees. So what's happening is you're working your air conditioning longer, which is costing you more money. But now some AC companies are getting more efficient on what they're doing with 1 unit. What I'm starting to see is with the 1 unit air conditioning unit, what they're going to do is have 2 thermostats, 1 upstairs, 1 downstairs, with a valve inside the ductwork. So once the bottom meets its temperature, the upstairs will keep running and these valves will turn on and off until it hits that temperature. So those are the things that you really have to take a look at and ask those questions when you're building a home. The next thing that we take a look at is post-tension slab. That was the thing that we're talking about right here to identify if it is a post-tension slab. There are some pros and cons to post-tension slabs. I've talked to a lot of engineers. It's more preference regarding post-tension slabs and rebar 5/8 or 1/2 inch or 1 inch rebar. So it's going to be a case-by-case basis on who you speak to. Now, what are post-tension slabs? So if we take a look at a post-tension slab, this is what it looks like, right? So basically in between, we have not a pipe, but it is a piece of steel. You lay the concrete. Once the concrete hardens, then on each end they'll tighten it up so that way it secures the structure and it's nice and solid, okay? Now, again, the reason why they put this little stamp there is to let you know this is a post-tension slab. So anywhere on this slab, do not poke a hole into it because you can ruin the foundation. Now let's go to 5/8 rebar. Like me personally, I like 5/8 rebar versus post-tension slab. 5/8 rebar, if you put it from like 5/8 within less than a foot, the structure of the home is going to be a lot more sturdier. But also that depends on how big the home is, how big the foundation is as well. That's why a lot of engineers, I say, it's really a preference. It's case-by-case basis, okay? Now, this right here is just a AC unit outside for the garage, so that's not a big deal. We're not going to worry about that. Now, this is what I want to talk about, the ductwork, okay? So, here's your ductwork, and this is what the ductwork looks like. Now, this goes on, this is a can. This is probably a 6x6 can. That actually, oh, that's actually yeah, 6x6 can. This goes on top of the ceiling on each room. Now each can, 6-inch, will only cover a certain amount of square footage. In addition to that, what you have to look out for is the return line. And basically what the return line is this is where your supply line, all the cold air comes in here, and let's say this is your room at a smaller scale. Then what you do is the return line could be outside here, and it blows all the cool air, sucks all the hot air out to the return line. Goes back into the AC unit, right? Goes through the coils, through the compressor now at this point, then it spits it back out in cold air. Now also, what I'm starting to see is a lot of developers will put this above the door. The reason why they're doing this is because they know hot air rises and it's easier to suck out and it runs more efficient. Also, another thing about the AC unit, the more that you change out your filters and you clean your condenser, right? It's like doing an oil change. The better it is going to be for you. Okay, now this is a tankless water heater. Basically on a tankless water heater, it is about 25% more cost efficient, because if you have a 60-gallon tank that's running at your home, there's a thermostat. And if you set your temperature, because you like hot water, and you also have the option to set it at 120 degrees or whatever it is, it constantly has to reheat, and that water heater has to be prepared for you when you're ready to use that hot water. This instantaneously will give you that hot water, so you're saving money at the same time. Okay? So, also, a lot of homes will come with a soft water loop, and a soft water loop is right next to the hot water heater. So it's a loop that comes out like this. You'll have the option to tap in to put a water filtration system to clean out your water to go into the main house. The second thing that you can also add in is a soft water filtration system. So basically you'll add that in there, so that way the water out here is so harsh, and by adding that, it makes the water softer. It takes out all the minerals out of the water. The only thing that I see that's negative with that is when I take a shower, I constantly feel like I have soap on myself, and I don't like that. Also, what you see right here is like a 220 outlet. You always want to make sure you have a 220 outlet, but that is also standard. Now let's come into the fabrication of a shower. Fabrication of a shower is so important, okay? A lot of times, if people want to save money, then they'll just hire a contractor after to come in, or some Joe Smo handyman. If you're going to do that, there's a couple things that you need to make sure you're doing the right way. So let's just say this is your whole shower, right? It's just all drywall. First thing that they're going to come in is they need to lay this felt. This is a barrier for water. Once this is all glued on, then they'll come in and they'll tape and mask this all together, right? Also, they're going to do the corners too as well. But all this should be all sealed. Once that is sealed, they're going to lay this, I forget the name of this, but they're going to lay this piece of item here. And the reason why they're going to do this is because you see these grooves? That's how it's going to, the grout's going to get stuck to this, so that way you can put your tile. So moving on to the next thing, what they're going to do after the felt is sealed and ready to go. So now it's solid, okay? So you really want to make the water to the point where it's watertight throughout your bathroom. So now they're going to lay the grout. Once they lay the grout, they're going to put the tile. Okay. Now, once they put the tile, a couple things. When you're shopping for your tile, make sure it's not porous, because if it's porous, you're going to have some problems with water in the long run. In addition to that, make sure you talk to your tile guy to make sure that the tile that you are using is actually proper for the shower. Okay. Also, one thing that I want to mention as well is also the flooring. A lot of people will buy like cheap flooring because they want to save costs, but it's water resistant, but it's actually not waterproof. So that's something that you need to take a look out for. Also, let's talk about the flooring here for the bathroom. The flooring for the bathroom, you definitely need to make sure there's a pitch and it's leveled out to the drain, because if you take a look right here, obviously this is a model, and They just threw this together. If water was to run here, you'll have stagnant water here, then you'll also have a problem, okay? And the other thing with a model home, when they sell you the upgrades, they'll definitely sell you with the upgrades where they're gonna go ahead and install the tile that you want. However, a lot of times they'll put, instead of tile down here, they'll just put a plastic pan. So it's like, why would you spend all that money to put a plastic pan here and do all this work, okay? Now, that's why you want to take a look if the builders are doing this or if you're doing this on your own. This is actually the process. The next item is to go ahead and lay out the grout. Now, this grout is not sealed. You definitely want to make sure the grout is sealed, especially if it is white grout. And I'm talking about even on your floors, because that could be a big headache in the near future if you're not sealing your grout. Now, let's move on to insulation. And insulation is like so important. Now, normally on insulation for your walls, your insulation for your walls is like R13 and up. The higher the rating is on it, the better it will be. Inside the attic, the R rating is about R13. Now, this is your standard insulation here, okay? You see this piping right here? This insulation is actually fiberglass. Now, if you actually take a look, you see this gap? The problem is it gets so hot out in Vegas, it actually seeps through. The thicker this is, the better it is going to be for you without any gaps. Think of your house as like a refrigerator box, right? Or a cooler. The tighter it's sealed, and as air is flowing inside, this is actually keeping the hot air to actually break in. This right here, if you're building a custom home, these are the things that you need to ask. Is this actually blown in insulation? But blown in insulation, there's all types, but as you can see how much it fills out. Also, this is going to save you guys a lot of money in the future with your electricity bill. But a lot of homes now in today's market are about 30 to 35% more efficient than other homes. Now, up in the attic, you can also do blow-in insulation. But as you can see, this whole attic is probably filled, but they open this up so that way you can see exactly what it looks like, okay? But that's the real way to do it. Now, let's take a look at the construction. Okay, so we have in the back here, and this is kind of an example of how they actually build homes out here in Vegas. So in the back, we start off with the frame, which is a 2x4. Once they add the 2x4, then they're going to go ahead and add your windows where the windows need to be. Then at that point, they're going to put the underlayment. So the underlayment is actually a piece of paper or felt that actually staples along the 2x4. Then at that point, then they're going to put the foam with the chicken wire mesh. Then from the mesh, they're going to go ahead and spray the stucco. But this is actually not the real stucco. This is more like concrete, okay? The reason why they're going to put this on first is so that way this sticks to the chicken wire. Then from there, they'll move on to the true stucco for the exterior. Now, the way that the stucco is actually designed, it's pretty porous. So the water is actually going to soak into here, but it will actually drip down in between the concrete. Now, this just kind of shows you an idea if there were an outlet, which is you'll definitely have an outlet in your backyard. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's take a look here. This is very important. This is actually your main line to your home. Then would actually run out to your water heater. So basically what would happen is your main line from the city will run to your home, to the meter, then would run to here, okay? This is your main shutoff valve. Now, personally, what I've done, and when I do travel, I will actually come out here and I'll shut off this valve when I leave, okay? The reason why is because if you leave for a couple weeks, right, and you have this on, and your home is leaking somewhere, at that point, you're gonna have a big problem. It's gonna cost you a lot of money. I've gone through that problem before where my house actually flooded. So now when I leave, I actually turn off the shutoff valve. However, please make sure to contact a plumber and ask them how to do this system, because if you do not know how to turn this on and off the proper way, then what's going to happen is you can have some air inside your pipes, then you can actually burst your pipes. Now, I'm not telling you guys what to do, I'm just telling you what I've done. So when I leave, I just turn this off. Now, the problem is that you have water all in these lines, right? You come back after 2 weeks, it probably has evaporated. So I don't just crank this on. What I do is I turn on all my valves throughout the house, shower, everything, turn it all on. Then I'll turn this on very slowly to let the water go through the valves and take out all the air bubbles. Once that is done, I open it up all the way. Then at that point, I will go shut off all the valves. However, please make sure you contact your local plumber. Okay? Also right here, what you'll see is this is for your garage door opener, your sensors. You'll have one on that side and also one on this side. Okay? Also, this is where your garage door opener will go. That's where they will plug in. Okay? Also, the other thing I want to share with you is, okay. This is a true 2-car garage. How do we know this? This is some things that you need to identify when you're buying a new home. A lot of people, when they look from the outside, it looks like a 2-car garage, but when you move in, you pull in, you open your 2 doors, you realize it's not a 2-car garage. So one of the things that you need to take a look at is this. When you pull your car in here, as you can see, this is probably about a 3-foot span. So you can actually open the door on this side, also on that side. So this is a true 2-car garage. Also, one thing that I found that really adds a value to a home and it makes your home look cleaner is actually the epoxy on your floor. Now, I have the same type of epoxy flooring, same type of design. The only thing that I have different is actually a clear coat above this. Now, that clear coat, at first, I liked it, but I don't like it now. But after looking at this does look a lot better. But what's nice about the clear coat is a lot easier to clean, and it's going to run you probably about, I think we bought it from Rust-Oleum for like $600 or something like that. But it's definitely money well spent. So, if you purchase a home, highly recommend that you do that. Also,